AGPO contracts. On further on economic empowerment, there is the Micro and Small Enterprises Amendment Bill of 2020 that is being proposed to be an anchor for the business incubation centers. And they are talking about the business incubation centers, and they're painting a picture of one that would sort of mirror what the Huduma centers are. They are talking about having them in every county, but there is also the plan to cascade these business incubation centers to every ward. And once they have the business incubation centers at every ward, there is something that is called the biashara mashinani, of making sure that business and business support for young people is cascaded down to the ward level. So when they're talking about the business incubation centers, the proposal is to have one-stop shops to provide information and access to the 3 Cs, where young people can walk into these centers. They can be told these their contracts, maybe in their county governments or national government or in parastatals. They can be taken through the available contracts under the AGPO and even the wider net of government contracts. There is also the second C is communication. They'll be given a lot of business advisory in these business incubation centers in regards to business registration. Most of the people maybe who are having challenges with e-citizen, it's just like Huduma, but now mainly focusing on business issues. They're talking about also having representation for the Export Promotion Council there. They're talking about having representation in these incubation centers of EPZ, HCDA, NYS, Kenya Leather Development Council, Kenya Meat Commission. They will also maybe nurture ideas and then market and have maybe like market linkages for young people who are in business. And the third of the C's is capital, where young people can walk into these places and build these business incubation centers and maybe apply for funding. And here, maybe there's an alteration. It's no longer the youth fund or the women fund, but it has not been collapsed into the Biashara fund. So when a young person walks into these centers, they can access the Biashara fund. So it is just a concept to have an all under one roof and like a one-stop shop where young people who are interested in business can walk in to have and take advantage of all of these provisions. Okay. When they had a proposal under the Micro and Small Enterprises Bill, you know, most young people are saying that we are being taken out of business by people who are registering businesses and maybe their young relatives and saying that I am a young person when they are not young. So right now the issue will be addressed, and they're saying that they're going to put a cap of 5 million annual turnover for any company to benefit from AGPO. So if you are in a bracket and you have an annual turnover of 20 million, you will not ever do an AGPO contract for youth, yani youth YAGPO. You will not be able to take advantage of a YAGPO contract. So companies only with an annual turnover of 5 million and below will be the ones who will be taking advantage of the YAGPO contracts. And also you remember that there was something that has been going around right now of the beneficial shareholder, where companies are being required to register a beneficial shareholder. If maybe I am a young person doing this business, but there is an older person who is benefiting from a company, you are supposed to clearly state that you are not the only beneficiary of this company. So when they find out that there's someone who is more advantaged, maybe economically, you will not also get to benefit from the YAGPO. So I feel like this one will further ring fence most of the opportunities for young people. And because they have been continuously denied by people who are maybe more empowered than themselves, this very proposal is going to help them. They're talking about an enhanced availability of data and Wi-Fi in every ward and village to enhance digital mashinani economy in concept similar to China's Taobao villages. So I think this one had been in some few years back. This one was piloted in Nakuru County. Right now in Nakuru County, I think maybe if there's someone who comes from Nakuru, they will tell us if that network provision of Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, is working. So they are saying that they are going to further, maybe away from the pilot county, they're going to put a Wi-Fi in every ward and village, so that they can give more young people an opportunity to take advantage of digital opportunities that are found online. Yes, the Youth Commission comes back down here because it's a key proposal that is going to benefit young people. And we talked about a 7-member commission that is headed by a chairperson that will require half of them to be young people. And the composition will have to be full gender sensitive, where they will have half members male, half members female, who are young, who will be under 35. Isaac, I think we can maybe open the floor, because the rest of these issues are, they touch on other proposals that are not maybe affecting young people. I don't know, maybe we can open the floor, and if people are seeking clarity, we can have discussions around maybe the proposals that I have mentioned.
Okay,
Isaac.
Yes, thank you so much, Agnes. But I know that those are small proposals that we have not touched in, but regards the BBA, if you could maybe touch on them briefly, and then once we open the plenary, we can open kama tumeendelea.
Okay, so you know, when we talk about the BBI, most people don't understand that it is something that seeks to have changes on multiple levels. So they are talking about administrative changes, they are talking about policy changes, they are talking about legislative changes, and they're talking about constitutional amendment. So when it comes to the constitutional amendment, this is what we are going to, maybe because all of us are politically inclined, we are noticing that the country is preparing for a referendum that is coming, that has been hinted is coming in mid next year. But away from that, there are so many legislative bills that are falling under the legislative measures that the BBI seeks to address. We have talked about the prompt payment bill of 2020, that will anchor the biashara mashinani, or the prompt payment bill that will make sure that youth businesses are paid within 60 days. So this is a bill that is going together with the constitutional amendment bill that is going on the floor of the House, debated, and will go through the stages, the normal stages, and effected, so that it can anchor the provision to make sure that young people are paid. The public finance laws, this touches on the campaign financing also. There is also the micro and small enterprises amendment bill, the one that we've talked about, a legislative measure that is going to anchor the biashara mashinani, business incubation, and these one-stop shops that are being proposed to be in every county and further along the road in every ward. The election laws amendment bill, we have touched on it a bit, as those issues that are affecting young people, and the proposals within political parties and how the nomination processes will be held. The National Economic and Social Council bill is also among the legislative bills that are being proposed. The devolution laws that will touch on the issue of opposite gender, of the CECs, on the option to recall the MCA. It will touch on the deputy governors being given a portfolio, because right now they don't have a portfolio. The public fundraising bill for the campaign financing, public participation bill, the ethics and integrity laws, the anti-corruption and economic crimes, the health amendment bill. There is a very key proposal that has been made there about the health charter of individuals who maybe are going into hospitals. They are calling it a public health charter. Maybe if we would go back there. So development of a patient's charter and a bill of rights to foster the rights of patients that shall, amongst other things, entrench the rights to emergency treatment and tackle predatory practices like overbilling, detention of patients, You see, right now, if God forbid you get into an accident, then you are taken into your nearest hospital. Most hospitals right now, they want you to deposit some fee for them to maybe attend to you. But right now, with the proposals and the proposal to have a patient's charter, it will be your right to be attended to, and no hospital will deny you service because you have not deposited. And then there's also that other issue of you are detained in a hospital because you have not cleared a bill. You see that young mothers or women who give birth to kids, but they cannot pay their maternity bill, they are told to stay there until it is cleared. Maybe sometimes you see that someone was being treated in a hospital, and then they maybe pass on, and then their family cannot get their body because they are told that there is a bill that needs to be cleared. So these are among those issues that will be addressed with the health amendment bill. And then now we have the statute law, the miscellaneous amendment bill. You know, when we mentioned the implementation mechanisms, I touched on them. They said policy measures, things that you hear many people are saying that do not need a referendum. It is true, most things do not need a referendum, but there were things that were gotten and captured from citizens within Kenya saying that these are things that we want to change. So because the BBA document is a cumulative document on most of these issues that Kenyans presented before the task force, so there are some that will be effected through policy measures. And then the second implementation mechanism, they're calling a constitutional or constitutional measures, which we are talking about the constitutional amendment, things that are affecting maybe Articles 177, like composition of parliament. And then we are going also in the composition of the executive. So the implementation mechanism also here is now the constitutional amendment. And then there are some administrative measures, and then also legislative measures like those 12 bills that we have mentioned there. So the BBI is packing all of these measures: policy, constitutional, administrative, and legislative. And one key thing also to learn about the BBI, that they said that there will be a guiding principle, multiple guiding principles, and they have mentioned 10 of them. They are saying that whenever we will be effecting change within our country, we will have these 10 aspects as the guiding principles. They say that our constitution is our foundation. So whenever someone is doing a legislative measure, administrative measure, policy measure, or constitutional measure, that we will be very much guided by the constitution as our foundation. They are saying that the second guiding principle is our heritage and history. So they're saying that this is key, that we should never neglect it. And they are talking also about our African identity. You see that the BBA was also proposing that most of the things that we are doing as a country, we should keep in mind our Africanness. So they're saying also as a guiding principle, we should guide and maybe change our country as Africans. But and then maybe this is in regards to the Western influence that maybe has been the pressure to conform to the Western ways. So they are saying that we really need to keep our African identity. There's also the fourth guiding principle, the right to education. And when you read the BBA document, they're talking about education being an endless and continuous process. So they're saying that when we are doing all of these things, education should also, the right to education should also guide most of these proposals. Health and wellness, because most of the Kenyans complained about access to health, wellness, especially mental health. So health and wellness is also a key guiding principle. Environmental conservation and economic development, our productivity and shared prosperity, justice, safety and security, and then also our unity and diversity. So the 10 are the guiding principles. And then we have the 4 implementation mechanisms and the 12 legislative bills that are being compacted within the BBI document. So if there is any question or clarification that is needed, Isaac, I am very much willing to maybe go through and maybe to offer clarity from the attendants. And maybe if any like anyone who's participating in this conversation wants also clarity on other issues, Isaac, maybe we should open the floor so we can have a further discussion.
Thank you so much, Agnes, for the good presentation. I now open this opportunity to sorry for that. I now open this opportunity to the members who want to take part in this discussion. I can see we have two hands. We have Jesse Saruni, we have Michael Kisa. So if you want to make a contribution, kindly raise your hand so that we can be able to give you an opportunity. And once you get an opportunity of giving your inputs, kindly keep them short, well packaged, and direct so that you may not take time on one issue. You can have Jesse Saruni and Michael Kisa in that order.
Thank you very much, Isaac. My main issue is basically around the issues of the Youth Commission. If you look at the way it's structured and all that, I am having questions about the powers that are vested in the Commission vis-a-vis the Ministry of Youth. Because at the moment we have the Ministry of Youth, which is supposed to cater for all the issues that regard the youth, but it has not managed to achieve all the desired objectives to a desired conclusion. So introducing another commission that is again less powerful than the ministry itself is, to me, something that will not add a lot of value. Someone says that it's in public dominion that what Kenya lacks is not laws or good laws, but the implementation of laws that is what we lack as a country. So I don't know how the Commission will be able to maneuver the lack of need to implement this objective.
Jesse? Okay, thank you so much, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you, I'm through.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's have Michael Kisa.
Thank you very much, Isaac, for CMD for this opportunity. Thank you also to Agnes. I appreciate her, the clarity with which she is expounding on this document. I have, I think, two questions. Number one, I would like Agnes to clarify the issue about the composition of Parliament. There has been, I think, the rumor, or rather the misunderstanding as to whether how many parliamentarians you're actually going to end up with. And at one point, there even has been a mention of about 600 or something. And then two, I've not seen it captured in the BBI, but my concern, we are talking about the, having a process that favors the youth. And my concern lies on our education system. You find that beyond secondary, we do have, of course, the university level, and we've also have people who have the youth who have opted to go the technical way, who have gone for, say, to colleges that offer high diplomas that are very competent in different fields, including engineering and chemistry. So I think there's an interruption from someone who was not muted. I don't know whether it's Felix Mambo. Yeah, thank you. So my concern, can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Isaac, can you hear me? Yes, thank you. So my concern is, as we approach BBI, are we not disadvantaging? There's been this talk of the minimum qualifications of going to Parliament. There has been another school of thought that says, leadership is academic credentials are important, but there are also other considerations. So my concern is what is the impact of locking out people, young people who are in competent sectors, or rather who have attained an education at that level, by putting the credentials, blanketing them at the degree, say minimum qualification, and saying that maybe we only we can only law it for, say, members of the county assemblies are the ones who can maybe be allowed with diplomas. I think for the sake of young people, we need to push for a situation where the level of entry into politics does not disadvantage the youth. And my final reaction would be, contribution would be that I don't think it is absurd to have a multiple choice kind of BBI. If indeed we are keen to see it go through, and without jeopardizing any good proposals in there, then I think we should push for one that has multiple choices. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Michael Kisa, for your inputs. Let's have Peter Kamau, Beatrice Kimiti, and Nancy Academy in that order.
Thank you, Isaac. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Proceed.
Okay, the first question I wanted to ask has already been asked, the composition of the parliament, but I also wanted to touch on the youth commission. Okay, it's okay for us to have a youth commission, but I think we should have a fully fledged ministry, our youth ministry, the way we used to have it sometimes back, and also resources should be added. I remember those years it used to get a very small budget. I think if we have a fully fledged ministry, can be able to assist young people, because as Agnes was presenting, she also said that the number of those commissioners are supposed to be 7 and only 4 are required to be young people. I think being a youth commission, we should have it being a commission full of young people. Let the 7 guys be all youths. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you. We can have Beatrice and Nancy.
Thank you, Isaac. And I also want to thank Agnes for the very good presentation she has made to us. My issue is on Article 237A, the amendment on Youth Commission. Peter Kamau has touched on a few issues that I wanted to touch on, but I think the Youth Commission being autonomous is a good thing. And then just as Peter has said about the chairperson, I think it would have been specific. Like the chairperson should be a youth. And because we have, it will be comprised of 7 people. That is the chairperson and 6 members, or 4 of which should be youth, 2, male, female. Maybe it would have been more specific. These youths should be at least 34 years or below 34 years, because they have a term of 4 years. So by the time, if let's assume one gets the chair seat at 31, so the 4 years, or I mean they be 31 years or below, so that we don't have people who are above 35 years being in the Youth Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. Nancy.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Mine is just a comment and a question. My first comment is to Agnes on the best. She has said that the nomination is like she was trying to insinuate, like the nomination for the women, that this opportunity will be best for the women. I think that is a wrong notion of expression of that statement, to my perspective. because we are talking of nomination as all genders. So it depends with how the elections will go and how we will have. We are talking about the number of votes in this case. My second question, I will need clarity on clause 39 of the constitution itself, the amended constitution, clause 39, which is article 177, where it talks about, okay, I have a two, I think, conflicting argument in my head over the best loser and the exact meaning of this clause, where it says the political party list by political party in proportion to the votes received. Like the votes received as in best loser, votes received, the two statements are conflicting in my mind. If I can get a clear explanation, Agnes, I would really appreciate. Then lastly, on the commission, as other members have stated, to me, I feel it's a good thing, and I feel like it is something that will assist the youth get the independence over various aspects. But for the 7 members of the commission, we are only given 4 slots as the youth. That is specified, because they're saying 4 of them must be used. So meaning I will also have a query. I also have a query on that. Yeah, I think that is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I see we have on Enoch on Koba, but Enoch, I'll give you an opportunity after Agnes has responded to some of the questions and the comments of the previous speakers. Agnes, I hand it to you. Agnes?
Thank you, Isaac. And for the members who presented their questions, maybe I will take them in no particular order. And I will start with the question of why a youth commission. Whenever I am asked why a youth commission, I always like to respond by asking the person who asked such a question, why the Teacher Service Commission when there is a Ministry of Education? You know, if we have a Ministry of Education and then there is TSC, why not have a Ministry of Youth and a Youth Commission? Maybe I think it would be best to go through the proposal as it reads, and talk about the functions of the commission. And the functions of the commissions are to advance the participation of the youth in all spheres of public and private life, ensure the mainstreaming of youth perspectives in planning and decision-making, advise the national and county governments on the design, implementation, and evaluation of policies and programs to secure sustainable livelihoods for the youth, facilitate generational mentorship and integration of African traditional values with contemporary youth lifestyles, promote the preservation and dissemination of African morals, traditions, and cultures among the young people, propose legislative policy and other measures for the attainment of this article. So you realize that when we are talking about the Youth Commission, most of these functions are not being done by the Youth Ministry. Right now, it is the Ministry of ICT and Youth Affairs. It's not being done, ICT Innovation and Youth Affairs. They are not doing either of these things. If you are talking about the State Department of Youth, is not doing these things. So I believe that having a youth commission that is autonomous will help to really inject the what can I say, the advocacy of the plight of young people, and it will further enhance how young people are involved in all levels of government. A commission is powerful, like you see the TSC. You know, sometimes even we've seen the power that the TSC chair holds against the ministry. They dictate who gets hired, who gets sent where. So the power of a commission can never be undervalued. And maybe something to offer clarity, like what BBI has proposed, normally our commissions can have members up to 11 onwards, 11, 12 onwards. But right now, going forward, all commissions, even when you look at IEBC, all of them will have only 7 members, a maximum of 7 members. There was a lady who talked about the appointment and the age. I know it is something that is, what can I say? When young people are given a youth commission, they feel like young people should be the ones who are leading it. But we must also be honest when you're having this conversation that even when we have a youth commission and we have been given 4 of them must be young people, it has not been said that all 7 cannot be young people. It has just been said that if and when the commission is being constituted, and if they do not get 7 young competent people, 4 must be young. It does not mean that all of the 7 cannot be young people below the age of 35. But they are saying, and they're tying it to law so that they cannot make it ambiguous that all the 4, minimum of 4, should be young people. When you look at the constitution and when they talk about the appointment and when someone is given a youth or an affirmative position, it's usually you are youth when you are being appointed. So even right now, even if I am 35 and I'm turning 35 maybe in December 30 and I'm appointed now, I am still young and I can serve even for those 4 years, because as when I was appointed, I was a young person. So you cannot calculate an appointment age by going behind and saying that now because you need to be youth, now you need to be appointed by the time you're 31, because it is usually when you are appointed. You can even be appointed when you are 34 and 9 months, but you are still a young person when that appointment was effected. Before I get to the composition of parliament, let me talk about the issue that the lady has raised about the nomination of women. I apologize, but I think maybe presumptively, I have spoken about gender top-up because right now the gender issue is primarily on the female gender. It's the female gender that do not have equal representation in the floor of the houses. So maybe when the years go by, we might start nominating men. But right now, sadly, only 10% of women who vie are elected. So I think it will take us a number of years to start seeing the disparity of numbers when it comes to men and women. So right now, most of these 2/3 bills or 2/3 proposals are usually to cure the gender parity in terms of in the favor of women. So, but I correct my terming there that it is a gender top-up proposal, but right now mainly it is just in favor of women, because in Kenya it is women who are not having the advantage of fair representation within the floor of our houses. The clause on Article 177, by deleting the words "be nominated by political parties in proportion to the seats received," and substituting therefore the words "be elected through the party list by political parties in proportion to the votes received." So the closest relation that I can put to this is maybe the South African model, where when there is an open list of members that are supposed to be voted for, when it comes to opportunities that are available, like open slots, like right now in the previous parliament, when after electing the 290 single member constituency MPs and the 47 women reps, there were about 12 nomination slots that were being allocated to have nominated members on based on Article 100 of the minorities, catering for youth, male, youth, minority, maybe in terms of tribe, or what can I say, like the minority clusters, either age, gender, or tribe, something that people who are not more advantaged. So those seats were divided according to the number of seats that Jubilee has won. So if Jubilee has won a majority of the seats, amongst those 12, they maybe get 3 or 4. That's why you find out that KANU was maybe nominating just 1. Wiper was nominating maybe another 1. but Jubilee got most of the positions because they had the majority members of parliament. But right now this one is changing, and now they're requiring seats is not the factor of determination, but votes. So votes will, that's why now it is encouraging political parties to have more people, stronger candidates. So it is just curing the issue of nomination and the anomalies with around political processes. You know, normally, kama uko na pesa unaenda unanunua tiketi ya chama, maybe you are not very popular, but right now political parties will really need to get strength in terms of votes that have been cast, not seats. So you can see that maybe a KANU candidate, they did not win, but they got 100,000 in a constituency. And then a Jubilee candidate maybe won with 120. And then there is a Wiper candidate maybe with 60. So the determination would not be according to the number of seats, but cumulatively, zile kura zote chama zili okota. So right now, political parties will be very deliberate on who they give these political seats, because right now votes will matter, not seats. Ni zile kura ngapi mmepata nyinyi wote kwa jumla. I hope I've answered those questions. Now I'd like us to go and break down the composition of parliament. And remember the Article 97, before it was amended, we had 290 single member constituencies, 47, and then 12 nominated members. And then we counted the speaker, and they all formed, and the number was 360. If you calculate, unapata 290 plus 47 plus 12 plus 1 ilikuwa inakuja 360. So ukiangalia the proposal right now, the way they have amended Article 97, and then they have said that the composition will be 360, you notice that the number has not changed in the flow of the House. There's this issue of nomination that people are saying that women, if they are not voted, or the issue of top up, they're saying that if women are nominated, we would have a bloated parliament of about 600 members, but that one is an outright lie. If you do the math correctly, and if you go by past statistics of how many women are nominated in, who are elected in Kenya, you see that out of the number of women who vie, 10% get elected. And we are talking about having a political parties list that is 2/3 sensitive. So to mean, if you take like the top 5 political parties in Kenya, we would have 600 female candidates nationally. So if you are saying that it is 600 candidates nationally, let's just say 10% of those get elected. You notice that that will mean that it is 60 women. And even if they don't get elected past 10, you find that the most number of women who will be nominated at most, hata kukue kuenda kubaya aje, kuenda vibaya, wanawake wakose kuchaguliwa kwa ground, but you see that the maximum number of nomination slots will be 31 to 37. So hakuna ile siku viti zitafika zikuwe 600. So we can have the 360 plus the 6 plus maybe 31 to 37. Hapo ndio itakuwa the most number of MPs that we will have in the National Assembly. Although there's a slight increase in the Senate, the Senate had 47 elected single county representatives. So we had a senator from every county, and then they wanted to have an additional 16. So it was 47 plus 16. I don't know if anyone can do that math. 47 plus 16. That was coming to 63.
63.
Yes. 47 plus 16, 63. And then now we add 2 more members who was 1 male, 1 woman representing the youth. That is now 65. And then now we add 2 members being one man, 1 woman representing persons with a disability. That is 67. And then now we add the speaker, who is the ex-official member, and the members referred in clause 1C. Okay, the minority now, when wanachaguliwa kwa au PWD na youth. So in total, the composition of Senate was, give or take, 67 members without counting the speaker. So right now we are having 94 in full totality. 94 minus 67, you notice that this one is an additional of only 17. So 17 plus a variant of 31 and 37, that means that maximum we are going to have at least maybe 40 additional MPs, just 40. So this number would never get to 360. The maximum we are seeing would be 450, 455 onwards, but it would not get to 600. So Isaac, I feel like maybe all of the questions that had been asked I've answered. I hope that I've tried to make it as clear as possible. So maybe we can give room for additional questions, or if one of the people who asked these questions is seeking clarity,
Before you
maybe a way that I've not answered that maybe they have not gotten, I can also clarify, Isaac.
I had asked, there's one question you've not responded to. Yeah, I had asked about you to respond on the minimum credentials for entry into parliament.
Or the proposal to have a degree
as the minimum, yeah.
That one was a proposal. It was a court process, and it was something that was legally being determined through the court process, but it wasn't been a proposal that has been anchored in the constitution or the BBA proposal. It is very silent on that, but it is something that was in the courts, and it had been proposed that for a member of parliament to get into office, and even an MCA, they would be required to have a degree. And this is something that the citizens themselves had proposed. They wanted more educated, more informed representatives so that they can maybe rise up or maybe increase the quality of debate and the quality of representation. So it isn't something that has been expressly mentioned in the BBI, but it has been a subject of a court determination that we will have clarity, and the courts have not pronounced themselves adequately on the matter.
So at what level is the matter?
Sorry?
Can it be determined at what stage that matter has and the influence of the public participation on it?
It was at the courts. Maybe if you'd allow me to seek clarification with some of the legal persons that I work together with, and then maybe have an answer and present it. I will give an answer to Isaac akuambie venye kuliamuliwa, but ilikuwa decision yenye ilikuwa kwa court, and I don't know whether it has been sufficiently addressed or decided upon, but I will seek clarity on that issue and present my findings to Isaac so that he can pass it over to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Agnes, and the members who raised their questions. Now let's have Enoch on Koba, and in case there are more participants who want to give their inputs, kindly raise your hand so that we can give you that opportunity. Enoch, we have Enoch.
Yes, thank you, Isaac. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Proceed.
Yes, let me start by, first of all, clarifying Mike Hisa's question to Agnes about the degree on the education level for elected members. It was born out of the Elections Act of 2012, which has always been postponed by Parliament. They postponed it from 2013 to 2017. Then before 2017, they made an amendment to it, and then postponed it to 2022. So the reason the matter is in court is because the MCA's forum went to court to get a determination whether it's legal or it's against the constitution. And in my view, it is undemocratic, because the constitution talks about when it talks about the qualifications of somebody to run for office. It says you must be a Kenyan citizen, above 18 years, and any other qualifications, which I don't think has to be about education. If the people feel that maybe some chairman of a Catholic somewhere has led them well, and they want to make him go up there and probably do more a better job for them, then give them the latitude. Because firstly, you have to understand and you can acknowledge that we've made our politics more about finances. That we have now, even in the BBI, proposing to constitutionalize the CDF. When you go to the MCAs, we are coming up with the ward development kitties that the MCAs will be patronizing. The CDF is being patronized by members of parliament. And the people now don't even see the representation as an issue. What they want is somebody who will be able to manage their funds prudently. So if a chairman of a Catholic somewhere with his class 2 knowledge and gets the people feel that he has managed their Catholic funds better than their lawyer MP, they might choose to go for him, and that is a very democratic principle. So you cannot take it away from the people. That is my own opinion. But we will wait for the court to determine, because the matter is still in court. We have to wait for the court to determine and see whether the MCA's forum will have their way on that. Back to the BBI, Isaac, let me first thank Agnes for a very good presentation. I'm not for the BBI personally, but if it goes, then I wanted to go with my opinion on it. Firstly, Agnes talks about, let me start with the parliamentary representation, where she talks about people who will be nominated, and says that the most you can nominate is around 30 or 31. I think that is not correct, because firstly, is just us talking to me? Oh, sure. Now,
mute their mic.
So when Agnes talks about that the most number of people you can nominate is around 37 or so, I think it is incorrect, because what happens in case the 360 we elect 359 as men or women alone, then we have to nominate around 180 to make 2/3. Because this other thing of people that you have to make sure the list you present to IBC before elections is a zebra is undemocratic in the first place. Why do you want to put undemocratic principles in the constitution? Because you cannot tell me, you cannot force me to elect a woman when I'm seeing a better man, or you can't force me to elect a man when I'm seeing a better woman to elect. Come to the youth issues, the youth commission. I keep asking myself, why do we need the youth commission? And Agnes has, I think, elaborated well, but I still think I'm not convinced, because we've had very many commissions in this country. We've had the Anti-Corruption Commission for the longest time. We've had it, and we've not been able to fight corruption. We've had the Gender and Equality Commission, which has not done anything for 8 years. So what difference does the Youth Commission make to the young people of this nation? We have TSE, yet teachers still go on strike every now and then. What you're doing here, Isaac, is that we are sweeping matters under the carpet, and this is what I always call, I'm saying, I was telling somebody that if you don't like cakes that much, but you like sugar, then what somebody can do is hide the cake underneath the sugar. So you eat the cake anyway. So what the problem here is that the politicians want us to give them those seats that they want, but on top of it, they're icing it with some sugar so that you can taste the sugar as you go down. But the problem is you cannot watch your diet still eating sugars and the cakes. So it is not, I don't think it will be able to solve anything for us, or to achieve anything, because we have NYC. The proposals would have made sense to me if probably we would have had the youth development fund being institutionalized and going to the constitution as a fund that they say that 3% of the funds, or probably or the way we do with county governments, that we have 3% or even 1% go to youth development. We have a certain percentage that is directly linked to the people. The Youth Commission, to me, it's just giving some few young men and women and some few connected guys opportunities to get a salary and go home. On to that other issue of what was that? I was supposed to talk about that. She mentioned about Nakuru. I come from Nakuru personally. The Wi-Fi thing. I can tell you that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And when it works, you have to go to where the hotspot is. Like when in Kenyatta Avenue in Nakuru town, you have to come where there was a Tuskys Midtown, so that you can be able to access. Or when you're outside town, you go to Afraha Stadium. Where you have. So if you go to Nakuru even at this time, as we speak, you will find people around the governor's office. You will find people around the Afraha Stadium, or you find people around Kenyatta Avenue. You find people seated along the Tuskys Midtown, because that is the only place the Wi-Fi is working. The rest of the areas it's not working. So if it was a pilot, then they should look into it deeper. Isaac, on other issues, youth, I don't think I don't have any positive thing to say about the UBI personally. Isaac.
Thank you so much, Enoch Onkoba, for your candid inputs in the discussion. Do you have any other persons that you may give Agnes Ibarra to give her input and also conclude?
Isaac,
Yes,
with
Michael?
your permission. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really happy with. I'm quite contented with Enoch's argument, but then I also wanted to talk about the issue of when it comes to the matters IEBC and elections, the issue of agents. There's this issue of candidates who've participated know that there's this issue of your agents being compromised, and it is on the basis of that it becomes better for a candidate participating to have the leeway, or rather the flexibility to change their agents even at the last minute. So when we cast it in stone that the agents must be, must be submitted 2 weeks or rather 10 days or whatever before the election, then I think we're just opening another loophole for financed, or rather people who have finances or who are, have the might to compromise the election further.
Thank you so much, Michael. If there is no other person, let me hand it now to Agnes Ibarra to make
Before I hand it to
Enoch, you still want to give your inputs?
let Agnes come up first, and then maybe the question I'm asking, she might also answer it. Let her finish first.
Okay, suggest you give you make your question now, so that if when I hand it over to her, she may answer all the questions, and so that we may wind up our discussion.
Okay, then it is about the party primaries, because these party lists have to be born from the party primaries. And with these party primaries, you are telling us that they have to give a zebra sort of list. What surety do we have that they will not take the party primaries that we've seen, the route of the party primaries that we've seen before, where if Onkoba is the party leader in KNC, thinks that Isaac should be my candidate for governorship in Kiambu, and because people there probably want Beatrice committee, Enoch imposes on them Isaac. How does the BBI propose? How will the BBI cure the problems we have with the party primaries? Because coming up with this Zebra thing, I think it even digs this hole deeper than we think we are trying to cover.
Thank you so much, Enoch. Agnes, I hand it over to you that you may answer the remarks and also give a concluding statement so that we may come to the end of our discussion. Agnes?
Thank you once again, Isaac. I think this issue of the 2/3 composition and the number of nomination slots, maybe we need to clarify it a bit. And maybe I would like to ask us that we do this together because it's something that would need a calculation. So I think I had mentioned there are various attempts and there are various angles you can look at this issue for gender. And the first one I had mentioned would be the 2/3 compliant list, what Enoch is saying that is not a democratic process. But outside of arguments of whether democracy is there, having to make sure that women are elected is undemocratic, we must also bring to focus that even the parliament as it is right now is unconstitutional and it was supposed to be dissolved. So it is something, it's an issue that needed to be addressed critically. And some of these proposals that are being fronted as a solution to the 2/3 quagmire is having a sensitive party list. And it's not necessarily zebra, but they are saying that 2/3 of it, if we have, right now we have 360 constituencies. So 120 of these 360 must be women. And like I said, if you look at the top 5 political parties that field candidates, if 120 out of 360, if Jubilee gives 120 out of 360 women, Kano gives 120 out of 360 women, Wiper gives 120 out of 360 women, ODM 120 out of 360 women, ANC 120 out of 360 women. That means that it is 600 women on the field seeking election. And that means that their chances of being elected, normally most women they lose the party ticket. They are strong candidates, but they lose the party tickets to their male counterparts. So, but right now it is being tied to law that this list should be 2/3 compliant. We can also look at this. The second attempt would be this. National Assembly has 367 members together with the youth, the 2 youth seats and the 4 PWD seats. So it has 365 members and Senate has 94. So when you are calculating the 2/3, Senate has 50. Yes, so it is full gender parity. So it is 50-50 male, 50 female. Both houses need 34. 34 is what 2/3 is. So if Senate has 50, National Assembly needs 34, it means that in total, National Assembly, because of something that has already been cured in the Senate, and when you're calculating 2/3, you're calculating in totality of Senate and National Assembly. So this in total, it means that because it has already been cured in Senate in full, there's already full gender parity. In the National Assembly, you only need 18% of the women. So you can round off this total of 18% of the women that will be needed in National Assembly to 667. Yes, 18% of 367 is what? 67. And right now, ukiangalia Enoch, ever since elections have started in Kenya, wanawake huchaguliwa between 8, 9, 10%. So out of the 360, you minus 10% of 360, and that is the list that they can be elected. They can be elected 11, 12, 13, 15%, but we are going to the lowest. So 360, 10% of that is 36. 36, 67 minus 36. I don't know if there's anyone who has a quick mathematical mind.
31.
Yes, so it means that it is 31 women who will need to be nominated. I don't know whether now that when you are calculating it like that, it gives you more clarity. But now you can go further and say that if Kenyans elect 20%, because you see right now they have elected 10% when there was not been 2/3 compliant party list. So if you have a 2/3 compliant party list, to have that 600 women are vying, there's a likelihood that we may elect 20% of women. And if you elect 20%, it means that we'll be electing 72 And if we elect 72 women, no, there will be no need for gender top-up. So I don't know where the numbers of 100 are getting there. We have already found that the number at most yenye inaweza fika when wanawake wachache sana wachaguliwe, it's 31. There's also a third method. You can decide to look at the total numbers of entire parliament. You have 367 and Senate 94, that is 463. Two-thirds rule means that 153 women will need to be nominated. We will need to have 153 women. But we have already elected 47 female senators. So 153 minus 47, I don't know whether 153 minus 47.
114.
114. And then now we have 2 women PWDs.
That's 112 already.
112. We have 1 female youth.
130, 111.
Okay, my numbers are coming. If you have 153 minus 47 is 100 and?
106.
106.
Yes, 106. So if you minus 2 women PWD, it is 104. 1 female youth, 103. So it leaves a deficit of 103 women. Yes? Tumesha jaza, tumebakia na 103 women. And then now Kenyans elect 10%. Normally, tangu anze kuchaguana. So 10% that we have found is 36. So you minus 36 from what? The 103. We are flowing. Are we flowing together?
Finish.
Yes,
10% of what?
From the 103 to more deficit, yeah, the whole entire parliament.
Sorry, Agnes, I didn't get the 10%. It's 10% of what? Sorry.
So, see, tuko na 463. So 10% of that is?
All right, got it.
46. Yes? So you minus 103 minus 46. So it means that if you look at the whole entire parliament, wanawake labda 46 peke yake ndo watachaguliwa. Because we elect only 46. We elect only 10%. Wanawake wanachaguliwanga just a slight minority. So you minus this number of the probable elected members from the 103. It's coming to how many? 46.
Around 57.
It's coming
around
to 57.
57.
So,
57.
kukikuwa kubaya kabisa.
57. Yes.
Kukikuwa kubaya kabisa, it means that if you calculate from the entire house, useme calculate to what is this thing called National Assembly. Kukikuwa kubaya kabisa, and you have to factor in that this 10% is the least number of them to be elected. So it means that the major number that we're looking at is 57. And there is very little likelihood of them being elected at 57, because if we have more women in these political party tickets, it means that we might get more than 46 women elected. Because even right now, if you count the women reps, there are 47 and we have other women who have been elected. So this number would never get to the numbers that are being proposed right now, or the EU propaganda inasemekana right now in the media. If you look at it critically, the most that we will ever nominate is in the 30s range. Haitaifika hiyo kubwa hivyo, Enoch na Felix.
Itafika.
But we have done this math together.
Isaac, that is your narrative. I also have my narrative. If I do my math with you, utakubali. My phone might be going off in the next few minutes. Allow me to leave with a few words. That number one, Agnes, you've not answered the question of how we will get the party list with that 1/3. The process, you've not, because I may choose to add my girlfriend and my wife and my sister and everybody. So how democratic is that? Number two, I don't know why we want to institutionalize tokenism, because the politics of the carrot and the stick is what has killed this nation. And what you're doing now, we want to now consolidate tokenism and make it now constitutional through now giving tokens to women and maybe in future men, which is not the correct thing. The correct thing to do is that we level the playing ground.
Isaac, I think we have lost Enoch.
Do it. Do you get me? I think I lost my nini, but I'm back. Am I audible?
Please go on. Yes.
Yes. We get an opportunity where if a woman is vying and a youth is vying and a person with disability is vying and a tycoon is vying, they all have equal opportunity to win, because the tycoon will not now use his money, that the people counting the vote will not be bribed, the ground out there, the tycoon will not use goons on women and youth and with disabilities. If we make our rules and our election rules work, we can attain the 2/3 gender rule. Lastly, why not think of a way? Why do we want to live in affirmative action? Affirmative action is timed. It is not for life. Why can't we say, because we have 47 women in the National Assembly right now elected as women representatives, why can't we give them a term limit and say, you run for 2 terms, we were empowering you to be able to know how politics works, go out there and now vie with men. Because I can assure you, women like Milia Diambo was nominated once. She's now a member of parliament. My Senator Nakuru Susan Keheka was elected Speaker of the County Assembly. She's the Speaker Nakuru. We have quite a number of women who were nominated and then went on to win seats, the national legislators of this country. Why do we want to constitutionalize tokenism? I think if we made the women rep seat have term limits, that you vie twice, out of the 47, if we get 10 elected, well and good. In other 2 terms again, we'll add 10 on top. Tuende pole as we grow as a democracy, so that the monarchy does not feel the pinch. Why do we have to suck the last blood out of our taxes to achieve 2/3?
I know, and Enoch, you've raised the same angles of arguments that have been raised against promoting the promotion of fair representation. But I think, be as it may, these are not issues that we can conclusively discuss here, because they are issues of national interest. And when the issue of making sure that all parliaments are 2/3 compliant, the people who formulated the 2010 constitution saw it fit, and they deemed it fit, that women would be given equal say in all the floors, in all of our assemblies. And if they're the wise ones and the wenye walikuwa wametutangulia, I don't think we can argue with their wisdom. If they felt like women need to also have equal representation within the floor of the House, and also you also have to acknowledge that, Enoch, we have a population that is dissected in the middle when it comes to male and female. So if we have male representatives in National Assembly, women also need to be there. And because the playing field in Kenya has never been normalized and it has never been evened, there are multiple barriers to which reduce the access of these political seats for women. We can talk about capital, we can talk about culture. Even the Naiswila that you've mentioned will give you a story of how she struggled to be accepted within the Ma community. We have multiple ways of political violence. There are multiple bumps that affect the access of these political seats for women. Now, because women cannot access these seats normally and the playing field is not even, that is why affirmative action proposals and the proposals to have like that's compliant parliament has been put on the floor, and parliament is usually expected to observe that gender rule. Because as Kenya right now, there's no way we can talk about equality of women and men on the playing field. It is not the same. Women are disadvantaged on multiple levels: financial, social, psychological, and that's where they cannot compete equally with women, with men.
And that is why I'm saying, Agnes, we need to work towards levelizing the playing field for everyone. That is what democracy calls for.
And I like the way you've mentioned nominated women have gone and spread their wings and got an anchor that made them, what can I say, formidable enough to go vie. So these are just proposals to give women strength, to make the citizens to see that women are also electable, because most in some regions of our country, women are not seen to be part and parcel of power. Because even when you look at the culture of Africans, the people who are deciding and the people who are ruling villages and towns were only men. So before we whitewash that perception of that leadership is a preserve of men, we need such proposal that is going to, undemocratic as you think they are, that are going to level the playing field for women and for them to be put there to be seen as people who can also be elected and be part of the electoral processes of Kenya. So the argument for it either being undemocratic or not, I don't think holds any water, because we have been trying to cure the 2/3 quagmire in our country for over a decade. And we have had multiple attempts on the floor of the House. And I think this is the best bet yet to solving the issue of gender parity within the floors of our House. So I don't think you can call it an undemocratic.
The problem is that we pussyfoot around it a lot instead of addressing the real issue. We just want to appear politically correct. Address this issue once and for all. If you are the man of the house and you cannot provide food for your house, don't quarrel your woman. Just accept when your woman tells you, my friend, you are not being man enough, and be that man enough. Take it, though it hurts. Take it and work on it. Why do you have to pussyfoot and start saying, ni kwa sababu nikuja na chakula unipiki? It is your work to provide it anyway. Yeah, you are the head. You need to show direction. Pussyfooting around these things and always hiding them under the carpet, that now we, even the fact that we have to now make the women feel like they are being given is also retrogressive, because women have to be told that you can fight for these things and win, because it is the mind. You have to start from the mind before you now come outside here. If I can give predictions, I can predict that in Homa Bay 2022 we'll have a woman governor. In Nakuru we'll have a woman governor. We still have a woman governor in Kitui. We might have one in Kilifi. Because there are women who've come out strongly. And I even predict Isiolo could also be a woman governor. Yeah, there's Kirinyaga, which now has been taken by women. The contest now in Kirinyaga is for women. We even letting men off from that. They have to take ages to recover, because we have the Ngirishis, we have the Mother Karuas, we have the Waigoros. We need to go to that level, and that is why I'm saying, just give them some. These affirmative actions has to be timed. Don't make it. It's like one wants to be a woman rep forever. Make it 10 years, because we are empowering you to be able to study the playing field. You've studied it. Kama hujastudy, shauri yako enda nyumbani. Let another one come up and also study the field and kujaribu. If we can do it that way, we will achieve greater things and a greater mileage as a country, rather than just saying, Beatrice Kimiti kuja, umefanyia Jubilee kazi vizuri sana, chukua kiti, kalia hapo miaka yako yote.
Isaac, maybe from Enoch's sentiments, you can organize a different conversation on gender issues. I think Enoch, but he's out arguing himself by mentioning only few women have been successful in being elected, and saying that women can be elected. But he has only mentioned.
I'm using them as examples.
Enoch, yeah, but you only have few examples. That one is what is the problem, that you have very few examples of women who have been elected. That's why we are really working, giving extra measures to make sure that women are elected. And I think
with enough time I can mention more.
Yes, next time when now the BBI proposal to have a 2/3 sensitive gender party list, and then when women start seeing that other women can be elected, women have always been discouraged from politics because wanaambiwa siasa ni chafu, utaharibiwa jina. Most of the women who are in siasa right now have been maligned. They have lost families. So women are shying away from political spaces because the playing field has not been fair to them. So when you see more women presenting themselves for elective office, more and more will be encouraged and more will be elected. So it is just a reverse kind of way of solving these issues. But Isaac, I think if we have conclusively discussed issues about young people, and maybe we have clarified issues that were brought up or at the plenary, maybe I can hand it over to you to guide the next steps, Isaac.
Thank you so much, Agnes, for the wonderful presentation, and also responding to the questions that were raised by the senior youth leaders from our various political parties. And from CMD, we hope and believe that the information that has been shared here is going to guide the young people in making informed decisions, so that when they're engaging with their different, with their constituents, that they can engage from a point of information. And we hope that this is not the end of this conversation. We CMD Kenya, we continue offering a dialogue platform for various voices, those pro or against the BBI, because what is important is that we have a strengthened democracy, we have functional political parties, and not only functional, but institutional political parties that are able to represent the will of the people in various levels of representation, and also in the various political parties there. That is the internal democracy of the political party. From CMD Kenya, we are grateful to Agnes for the presentation. We're also grateful to all the youth leaders who took their time to be part of this discussion. And we hope that you're going to take this conversation to your circles, to your various political parties, so that you can inform your citizenry. And then come as time goes by, we are going to know the next steps that the BBI is going to follow. If at all we reach to a point where we'll have a referendum, then the citizens are going to make informed decision. From CMD Kenya Secretariat, we are grateful to you all. Na asanteni sana, and we look forward to having more of such conversation next year. Merry Christmas and may God bless you all. Asanteni sana.
Merry Christmas, Isaac.
Thank you, members. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Isaac. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. We appreciate
it. Merry Christmas.
Asante pia and Merry Christmas.
Bye bye.
Shukran, kwaherini.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, CMD, and thank you, Agnes, for the presentation. Merry Christmas and happy festivities.
Thank you for the presentation. Merry